Hello and welcome to DiceTillDawn. And sorry it's been many weeks since my last video. I've been buried under a mountain of schoolwork and I still kind of am, but I really wanted to do a video for a change and I got a good subject here today. I think I'm talking about my favorite cooperative games. One of my favorite genre of games is that I can actually try to beat the game together with my friends and there's no like ill will and less competition against each other, and I really like the cooperation aspect. So I'm talking about I did this list in the sense that this isn't necessarily that the top one is the best game of the bunch, but it's like the 10 is the least cooperative in my opinion and the first is the most cooperation needed in the game. That doesn't make the number 10 a bad cooperative game, but these are the top 10 cooperative games that are good games but also promote the cooperation a lot. So without much else, let's just jump right to the video. And of course I had a lot more than 10 in my first pick, but I narrowed it down to 10 games and I think these are my favorites. And let's go with number 10, and it's a big huge box, and that is Arkham Horror. And yeah, this is number 10 because I think there is still a lot of solo aspect, like everyone does kind of their own thing. Even though everyone tries to help the common goal, there's still less cooperation in a sense, I think. So that's why it's only a number 10, but I truly love the game. It's highly thematic and very hard and really rich experience and story, and the cooperation is in a sense that you all feel the same story and relive these weird experiences. So there's a cooperation in that sense also, even though it's rarely on like what is the best thing to do in a sense. But anyway, number 10, Arkham Horror. And then we're on to number 9, and another highly thematic experience, and that is Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island. And again, I think this is not as cooperative as many of the games, although it's more, I guess, than Arkham in a sense. But this is worker placement, like simultaneously everyone chooses their actions, but you do have to think of which things you want to do and really plan your moves. So there is definitely planning and cooperation, but still if someone wants to go hunting, they use both their pawns there and they just are part of the bigger gears, which is okay. And don't get me wrong, there's really some plans here and some of the special abilities of the characters are really important to use and all that. It's still my 9th best cooperative game, so don't get me wrong, it's definitely cooperative, but also it would be probably higher if I only rated it on how good a game it is, because it's an amazing game. Actually both of these are in my top 10 or top 15 of all time, so there's that. But yeah, that's Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island. And then we're on to number 8, and another thematic game, and that is Freedom, the Underground Railroad. A great historic flavor here, touching subject matter but very educative, does it very well and is very hard to win and do well at. And there is cooperation with the special abilities and all these things, and you can really plan, but this can be a very alpha player dominant game in some settings, and again the cooperation is there, but it's not so crucial, I guess. I don't know why I'm saying that these aren't cooperative, but yeah, just trying to, because this is kind of a weird, I think my top 5 are games that are just, I wouldn't have thought they are that high, but when I thought about it, but you'll get there. Anyway, Freedom is just a brilliant game and I really love it. Okay, so number 7. This is Pandemic Legacy, or I think you can easily use normal Pandemic in this case if you don't have the Legacy, especially since you can't play the Legacy more, but as an experience Legacy is better, but the core mechanics of Pandemic are, I think, great cooperative game, and especially with at least 1 or 2 of the expansions it gets really out of proportion on how cool it is. And also Pandemic the Cure, the dice game, which I kind of like even more, but there's even less cooperation in that one, I guess, because it's more dice rolling and it's more like fun, so that's why I didn't mention the Cure as a pick here. But yeah, Pandemic Legacy or Pandemic, a great game. And then we're on to number 6, and I see this game everywhere on my lists, but that's Legendary Encounters, the alien deck building game. And as I've said in many of my videos, it's just highly thematic and very hard, and you can really fix the difficulty as much as you want, make it easier or harder depending on what you like. And it really promotes teamwork. You really have to make specific decks for everyone, for example, so that that guy is good at recruiting and things and helping each other, and the different symbols have to match to make the most out of the cards, and you can really think about, I'm not buying that because I want to leave it to my friend who already has those cards and stuff like that, and also which guy to attack and which to scan and what do the others have for their turns, and it's just a great game and feels like Desperate, like in Alien, and it's just amazing and really cooperative also. So number 6, Legendary Encounters Alien. But okay, let's go on to the top 5, and the first one is a small game, Hanabi. I just really like this game, and I think it's one of the most cooperative needed games, since you don't know what you have, you can't really alpha player like this, because you are only as good as your other players are giving you information and stuff like that, and it's just cool. The only negative, I guess, is that if you always play with the same group, it can really go into this pattern of doing these things in a certain way, and it's very easy to kind of cheat in this game if you let your group do that. But all in all, it's just amazing, and it's great to try to get the perfect score, or use the expansion that's included to make it even harder, and it's just always fun and always great, and works with all sorts of player groups, so families, all sorts of situations. It's great. Okay, so number 4, probably the hardest game on the list, and that is Ghost Stories. I've beaten this a few times, I guess, but only on the lowest difficulty level. I haven't even tried the harder ones yet, since this is just brutal. Only once you played it a few times, you just start learning that, okay, these are the things that I really need to focus on and all these things. But I think you will, probably every player in the world will lose their first game of this, I would think, if there is no one that knows the game in the group already. Okay, I might be exaggerating that, but not by much, I think, because we totally lost by a landslide the first games. So that's why it's number 4, because it really needs the correct decisions at all points. If you just go soloing in some corner trying to get something done, the group will lose horribly and very fast. So you really have to plan. Every action is precious, so it really needs the cooperation. The only bad thing, I guess, is that it's basically a 4-player game. I don't really enjoy the you can use the neutral boards and their powers with these tokens and stuff like that. So for me this is a 4-player game, which is kind of a sad thing, but all in all still a great game and a very big challenge. So if you like hard co-ops, you won't figure that out for a while, and you can always get the difficulty higher and higher and higher if you feel like you are doing too well. Okay, so number 3, that is the Forbidden Desert. This is the Finnish translation, so the like successor to Forbidden Island, which is a cool game, but it's very light. This is not a heavy game either. Playable by all players, I guess, all families, even pretty small children. But there's the perfect like combination of easy to play but still challenging decisions and meaningful decisions, I think. This is one of the fondest cooperative experiences I've ever played. I just taught it to my cousin who was here a few weeks ago, and we played a few games. He hasn't played many games, so it was great to see the enthusiasm on how this game works, and we are doing this together and trying to survive in this desert. And always the moving board is just cool, and the abilities of the players, you really have to exploit the special abilities, and the special equipment you can pick up are cool, and the difficulty level scale is very big, so once you go to the higher difficulties it's very hard, so that's a good thing. And if you go to the lower difficulty levels it's pretty manageable and just works brilliantly. Okay, so that was number 3 already. So number 2 is actually a game I think I wasn't sure if it was even one of my top 50 games, and not sure, but anyway, it's a good game. But as I said earlier, I think some of the games on this list are better, but this is the one that really needs cooperation a lot, and I've come to like it more and more the more that I've played it, and that is XCOM the board game. And again, first of all, a bit of negative is that you really want to play this only with 4 players. All the other player counts are just almost garbage, I think, because it's very annoying to play 2 roles, and I've only tried 3 and 4 players, and 3 players I've always been the one that plays 2 roles, and it's okay, I'm not saying that, but it's just not as fun because you have to manage. For example, I was the budget guy and the app guy, so it works, but if I get a lot of equipments and a lot of scientific research done to my characters, it's very hard to keep track of everything and still be able to like convey the app things on the app and everything. Because even though all of the roles are pretty easy and the decisions are pretty easy, but once you really hit the difficulty harder and really learn the game, you can really give a lot of information. For example, as the guy that controls the app, you really can dominate the game in a sense, and not in a bad way, I think, but as a you can see the big picture a lot better than some of the other players, so you can really give pointers each other and all these things. So if you have 2 roles, it's just annoying. But that aside, when you have 4 players, this is great because first of all, there are 4 roles which are pretty different, so you have a lot of replayability even in that sense. But also the difficulties, and there are different variations of enemies and different plans they have and all kinds of things. And it's very hard. You really have to make good decisions here. Even though there's a lot of die rolling, and many people could say that this is just a die game and all down to luck. Yeah, there are, but I think there are that many die rolls that it will even out, and if 2 groups played 5 games and the other played poorly and just relied on die rolls and the other players always made good decisions, I think the good team would always get a better outcome than the other group. And that's also because even the lowest difficulties are hard, but once you understand the game mechanics you can actually beat them quite consistently. This was one of the games that we actually lost the tutorial even on our first go, but we are now slowly working our way to the hard difficulty. So that's great, and the cooperativeness is great here. You really need to work as a team. It's a good game, so don't get me wrong. But yeah, that was number 2, and I actually was debating on which one of these to put as number 1 and number 2, but I think the number 1 is the game where I felt most like I needed the other players to help me, and felt like I really need to help them. And that is Xeno Shift Onslaught. Again, I'm not sure if I actually picked this to my top 50 I think it might be there if I did it again now. But this is basically a tower defense Starship Troopers type of game for 1 to 4 players. I wouldn't really play with 4, I think. 3 I guess is the sweet spot, and 2 is cool, and 1 player is okay, and it's all, but again, no cooperation there. But at its best, this is a hard game, pretty hard at least, although I've only lost like once, but I don't know why. Anyway, it still feels very hard, and all our wins have been pretty close, so it's not like we have won by a landslide, and the terror feeling during the game is just cool, because the aliens that come from the hive are just all so disgusting and ugly and powerful, but there are a lot of cool abilities the guys have, the Marines have, that they can really still survive there. Basically, you have a base that has a certain number of hit points depending on the number of players, and every turn you start by buying cards, kind of a deck builder, but there's very slight deck building aspect here, I think. And then you have this row of 4 spots for your own troops and 4 for the enemies, and every player has their own line, and they play cards to their Marines to the board, and the hive starts pushing always 4 enemies. Maybe some abilities might change that and add more, but usually it's 4, and once everyone has played their cards, then they go from first player to the next, and they resolve their whole line, attacking from the aliens one by one, and the aliens are face down first, so you don't know what's coming until the action starts. And if they kill all of your Marines, they get through and they hit the base, and if the base goes to 0, you have lost the game. And it lasts for 9 rounds. It's divided into 3 waves, and in each wave the enemies get harder, but you also get access to better abilities and better equipment and better soldiers. And no other game, I guess, other than XCOM maybe, gives me that feeling that if I don't use this grenade on my friends lying there now, we will all be doomed. And so there's always this feeling that everyone really wants to help everyone, because always the feeling of the aliens and the hive deck cards, which are just so bad, is that okay, we are dead, and then everyone really contributes, and there's never the feeling that no, I want to keep this to myself, because there's always the constant danger of, if that guy gets through, that might be like 5-10 damage to the base. So there's always the constant threat, and that's the number 1 reason this is number 1. This is the most cooperative, I think, of the games I know, because you really have to work together and you really want to work together. So I really enjoy it. It's not the best game, I guess. Many of the games are better in a sense, but I do really like it. I actually just got the Hive expansion here, which really raises my opinion of the game, because now there's more variety and you can't plan your move so much on the Hive cards, even though there are quite a bit in the base game, don't get me wrong. But I think I would still like I have the Crafting Lab expansion ordered, but I haven't got it yet. So maybe a few more cards and some more variability might make it even better game, and we'll see where it lands when I get to play it more. But all in all, it's my number 1 cooperative game, because it really promotes cooperation. Okay, so that was a pretty quick run through of my top 10 co-op games. Hope you enjoyed it, and as I said, this was like made in a sense that which is most cooperative, so I don't necessarily mean that the best game or so, but yeah, you get the point. Anyway, it was nice to do a video for a change, and keep watching. I will keep pushing these out every time I have the time to do it, but keep playing and give me feedback and requests if you have something. I've been planning on doing a top 5 deck building games at least, or historic games, stuff like that. So keep me a post if you want something or have some feedback, and see you. Bye.